Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. And we are basically looking at yesterday's press conference. I do apologise for last night. Various technical issues with the car and stuff, so unfortunately didn't manage to do the show. But I'm joined by Kev still. Good afternoon, mate.
Good afternoon, Paul. It's good to see you again.
Eventually. We may as well dive straight into the press conference with our good old friend, Mr. Bruce. I've got a few little snippets of what he said. This came from Keith Downey yesterday, saying Callum Wilson and Alan St-Maximin both available for Newcastle this weekend at Burnley, but a decision to be made whether they can start the match. But a blow for Steve Bruce as captain Jamal Lascelles has suffered a stretch fracture of his foot and faces a spell out. Now, this stress fracture, Kev, apparently happened last week against Tottenham. Now, what I don't understand is why the club didn't release that and tell us that that was the case from the start. Instead of telling us a couple of days before the game. Because if a stress fracture that happened on Sunday, he was never going to make this weekend.
No, he wasn't. I mean, when you look at the game, he still played on as well. So it makes you wonder how he was actually feeling during the rest of the game as well. Because if you've got to fracture your foot, I mean, you know the pain, that you know that there's something wrong. I mean, why didn't you ask to come off at the time that it happened? Or has it got something to do with the fact that the training facilities are that bad at the minute? I mean, the training, 3 days a week, is it? I mean, they had 6 days off last week. They're not training enough. And then I think it is a bit of a blow, but at the same time, I think most Newcastle fans will think actually that's a bit of a good thing, because not many rate Lascelles, so it's a good opportunity for Clark to come back in, and maybe it would look better for him, really.
I mean, I just this is typical of Steve Bruce for me. You know, he gets these players injured and he just leaves them on the pitch. I mean, a stress fracture that would have been painful to play through for me, and I don't think he should have been still on the pitch. But again, you know, he's obviously had beef with Kieran Clark about the comments he made last week, and didn't want to put him on the pitch, which for whatever reason I don't understand. But that's just the way Bruce works at the minute. But it's good to see obviously Callum Wilson back, St-Maximin back. Would you start Callum Wilson?
No, I wouldn't. Given obviously he's had that much time off, and obviously muscular problems are sort of dodgy things to have as well. So what would be the point in risking him? Bring him on half time, 60 minutes, give him half an hour, 45 minutes. You never know. It just depends how the game goes. If we're 2-0, 3-0 up, you've got no reason to bring him on. It gives him a little bit extra rest and a little bit extra time to get back fit, like fully fit, and then start him the game after. But the same with St-Maximin. I wouldn't start him either. Even though he got a bit of a run out against Spurs, he still didn't look properly match fit. So again, I would bring him on.
He hasn't looked fit for a long time, and he still doesn't look fit now. I don't know whether I don't know whether he's got like a problem with playing for Newcastle now or what. I mean, everybody's had to say over St-Maximin recently, and I just don't know. You know, his body language doesn't seem right on the pitch, but then you see photos of him doing stuff for charity the other day, and he looks happy as Larry. Happy where he is and stuff like that. So I just have to imagine that, you know, he's playing through some sort of pain barrier at the minute, and hopefully, you know, he can go on to the end of the season without picking another knock up, and then maybe just recuperate in the summer. But I think you're right on Callum Wilson. I mean, I said in my review video that I expect him, if he's fit, maybe to start and do like 60 minutes and then come off, do the damage, you know. But you could look at it either way. You could start him on the bench, come on with half an hour left, same as St-Maximin when players are tired, and do the damage that way. So it'll be interesting to see what Bruce does. But for me, I've got no faith in the man at all, in Steve Bruce, how he, how he negotiates these injuries, how he puts the players out, and the motivation he gives them. And if a player turns around to me and says, it goes to Steve Bruce and says, I'm fit, he plays them, whether they're fit or not. He doesn't seem to have the right attitude with regards to telling them no. But that's the problem with Steve Bruce. He's more like the mate at the minute than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to work for him personally, but I think you are right in what you just said about Callum Wilson. Yeah, I mean, starting from the start, then bring him off or bring him on as a sub. But I think the thing is with that, I mean, coming on as a sub, trying to get into the game is actually a different sort of kettle of fish than rather than starting the game. So I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
totally see what you mean by that. And I think Sam Maxim, I don't know why, but he looks a bit he does look a bit unfit, and he looks a bit overweight for me as well. I don't know what it is.
No,
He
I've
just doesn't
noticed
seem to
that.
be.
Yeah, yep.
He doesn't seem to be like the speed and the sort of agility that he normally has. I mean, something's just not right with him. I totally agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he's been out for so long, and whether he's bulked up with too much muscle. You know, because obviously we know he gets the rough treatment when he's on the pitch, and it could be that he's just getting so much rough treatment he's decided to put on a bit of muscle. But sometimes that can slow him down. I mean, you know, you look at Traore for Wolves, beef of a player, but sometimes, you know, he hasn't performed very much as his final ball. I mean, I know he scored last night and done us a favour, but you know what I mean? It's just sometimes you can be too big. This guy, I do have a problem with. And Keith Downey said, Ryan Fraser still missing with a groin injury, but Kieran Clark and Federico Fernandez available to play. Andy Carroll, touch and go. Well, I'm not really bothered about Andy Carroll because he's always touch and go. But Ryan Fraser, I have a problem with, and I took a lot of hammer earlier on in the season because I said Ryan Fraser. There's been a lot of rumours about him, you know, causing trouble behind the scenes, not really wanting to sign for Newcastle in the first place. It was one of his last options because he didn't get a deal anywhere else. How can he go on international duty? This is twice now. He's gone on international duty for Scotland, played brilliantly, scored goals, and he comes back and misses the Newcastle games through injury. I'm now starting to convince myself that this guy doesn't want to play for us.
Yeah, I think you are right in what you're saying there. There's just something not right with him. I mean, 1 week he's available, next week he's injured, then he goes off to play for Scotland, then he comes back, he's injured, and he's not available again. Just something just doesn't add up. It's obviously behind the scenes stuff, which we're probably never going to find out because, in my opinion, Steve Bruce doesn't get asked the right questions at press conferences. The questions that we all want answers to, like, for example, Matty Longstaff, nobody asks them questions. It's sort of like, it's as if the media and the journalists have been sort of like told, you're not allowed to ask questions about this, you're not allowed to mention him, you're not allowed to do this before they even go into the press conference. It just doesn't add up at all.
I mean, Ryan Fraser just doesn't seem to me like he has the right, you know, he seems to be a different player for Scotland. He seems to have, like, he's smiling, he's running around, he's causing all sorts of trouble for Scotland, you know, against whoever they're playing. And then he comes back to Newcastle and he either doesn't perform or he's injured. And most of the time it's injuries. Now, how can he go and be fully fit for Scotland all the time and then come back to Newcastle and somehow he's picked up this little injury here and there? Now, either there's a problem with him and Steve Bruce, which is a possibility, or he just doesn't want to play for Newcastle. Now, I have heard rumours from behind the scenes that he's just complained ever since he's come to the club, that he didn't want to sign in the first place. It was a last resort for him because nobody put a good enough deal on the table and because of the wage Newcastle United offered him. I just don't think I don't think his heart's in it. I really don't. And if his heart's not in it, then just keep him out the squad.
Yep. I would do exactly the same thing, but I think it's not just Ryan Fraser. I think it's a lot of not current Newcastle players, but like players that Newcastle have been linked with. They don't want to come and play for Newcastle because of the way the club's run, top to bottom. The current management, the current coaches, they've probably heard about the way that we train and all the days off that we have, and it might affect their career, which I totally agree with. I mean, we don't train enough. The club's run absolutely abysmally. In the management we have, we just want rid of. So what's the point in coming to a club that's just mixed up like that? I wouldn't come personally if that was me.
No, I mean, the training thing's got me totally stumped. I mean, 3 days a week is not good enough for a Premier League side. When you look at, the Leeds fans have told me that Bielsa's got them in nearly every day. It doesn't have to be all about being on the pitch. It's about working out formations, tactics, and everything like that behind the scenes as well, in meeting rooms and stuff like that. He is a doctor of the game, if you like. He analyzes every part of the game, and you just can't see Steve Bruce being that kind of person. Well, he definitely isn't. But 3 days a week, players get injured. Players, with muscle injuries, this concerns me with the likes of St. Maximin, with Wilson especially, because Wilson relies on his pace to break through. You know, he's on the line, and then he'll look for balls through the middle or balls down the channels, and he will sprint his ass off for them. You know how hard he works, and with muscle injuries, you just never know. And if he's not, you know, when Bruce turns around his press conferences and he's saying, "Oh, they've trained all week," well, really they haven't. They've trained for 3 days. It's not all week, is it?
Yeah. I mean, I said to you on your fan forum the other day, I wish I was working 3 days a week. I mean, don't we all basically? But yeah, you're right. It's not enough. Premier League teams should be training 5-6 days a week at least. I mean, fair enough if they had a match on a Sunday, give them the Monday off, let them maybe try like a cool down exercise at home or whatever. And then I would just going back on what you said about Bielsa as well. I'd have him at Newcastle in a heartbeat, because he would really G the team up, and then he'd get them in every day for training, and they'd be a lot fitter. So we wouldn't sort of like run out of steam during games and things like that. And then the injured players can get back to fitness quicker because they're getting more training sessions in. So I mean, that's just the top and bottom of it, really.
He'd take no shit either, would he? He'd take no shit from the players. He wouldn't accept the attitude of somebody like Shelvey, for one. If Shelvey's not pulling his weight, he'd be yanked off the pitch. I just think he's got such a cozy little arrangement with Steve Bruce at the minute that, you know, he's going to be in the side regardless. And the fact that he's going to captain the side makes me feel sick. But, you know, I
would give it to Matt Ritchie personally.
Yeah, 100%. Ollie says ASM is perfect for this game. Burnley are like Stoke under Pulis, when they pretty much played 4 centre-halves across the back 4. Even if he has an off day, he might just have one of those magic moments. Maybe, but, you know, he needs to show it. He needs to show an end product for me, St. Maximin, because he either tries to do too much or he does too little. It's kind of, he's got to find that in between, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, when he came on against Spurs, I mean, he made one run, and I think he was on the pitch 25 minutes or something. He went missing during the rest of the game. I didn't really see much from him. But he does have the odd moment of magic. But I think against Burnley, what that person's just said there, they are going to be a tough team to break down because they are big and strong at the back, and they love a tackle. I was speaking to Joe, a Burnley fan, this morning, and he says that the Burnley defence are going to be well up for this game because they know that Joe Linton and things like that, they'll just have him in his pocket all the time. So it is going to be a tough game. So, I mean, we don't really know what to expect at the minute, depending on how the lineup's going to go.
I mean, Burnley like the rough and tumble, don't they? They're one of them sides that like to get stuck into it, especially at home. And I know they've had a lot of draws at home this season, but you know what it is? They're a fighting team. And one thing that Sean Dyche will not accept is that performance last week when the 2-0 up at half time, end up losing the game. He will send them out on that pitch with a rocket up their asses. You can guarantee it, because it's something that he won't accept. Kobe says there, he said that when you want to play for the manager, then you'll do well. When he was on international duty, when he scored a goal. Talking about Ryan Fraser. David says, I hope we set up the same, but with Wilson starting instead of Gale, Willock for Shelvey. I can't disagree with that, to be honest. I think
it's not going to happen realistically, though, is it?
Well, it's not, because Shelvey. I mean, I'd heard rumours that Shelvey had picked 5 yellow cards up and he was suspended, but I don't think he is. I think that somebody else said that the suspensions, it was already started at some point, so he hasn't actually got a suspension. So there's no doubt for me that he's captaining the side tomorrow, which is bollocks. It really is. It's absolute bollocks. Andrew says, my team for tomorrow is Dubravka, Mankiewicz, Lewis, Fernandez, Clark, Hendrick. No. Matty, Sean, Richie, Gill, Joe Linton. 4-3-3. This is a massive game, but I would concentrate on the West Ham game and Arsenal. No, we can't concentrate on the West Ham game, because Arsenal, they're hit and miss, aren't they? I mean, we played very well against them in the FA Cup. Should have won that game. I still stand by that we should have won. The league game was different. We just didn't turn up again. But West Ham, I mean, Kev, they're playing superb football this season, and they're challenging for the Champions League. They are not going to be an easy rollover.
Yeah, they're not. David Moyes has done an absolutely amazing job with West Ham compared to the first game of the season when we played them. And I think Jesse Lingard is like the jewel in their crown. I mean, he's playing out his skin at the minute. He's got 6 goals in 8 games for them. So it is going to be a massive game. I mean, fair enough, they may have a Declan Rice missing, and I think they've got Antonio missing as well, judging by what Sky Sports said yesterday or this morning. So I'm not thinking look to the West Ham and Arsenal game. I think Burnley's our cup final of the season. I mean, we need to get points from this game, because I think Burnley are going to come into the game as well, looking at the Fulham result last night, and they're going to be thinking, well, we can get even clearer than what we actually are. So they're going to be up for the game. We've got to be up for the game. Personally, I mean, I'm not bothered about the West Ham and Arsenal game. I'm concentrating on tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, you've got to concentrate on the game ahead, the game in front of you.
Yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
This is, like you said, this is our chance. If we play like we did against Tottenham, I think we win the game. I think we genuinely have a better side than Burnley. I genuinely think we have a better side than some of the other teams in the Premier League. However, we don't play like that, and that's the manager's fault, technically, for wrong formations, wrong team lineups, and we know that. But I wouldn't have Lewis in for a start. I think Lewis needs to just take the rest of the season out and come back stronger next year. The guy's shot of confidence. He's just not. Hendrick, no, definitely not. I wouldn't have him anywhere near. Matty, we know, is not going to be involved because, Steve Bruce has told him he's in the under-23s for this foreseeable future. I mean, I'll go with I'll mention what team I think later on. I have done that in my preview video as well, but there's a few players in that 11 that I wouldn't have anywhere near. But again, it's all down to opinions and how well we think we'll do. There's a lot of fans who will think different players are good enough to play. But anyway, back to another comment from the press conference. Steve Bruce says we must maintain standards from last weekend, and we have to back up the Spurs performance at Burnley, or it counts for nothing. He's got a point there. It does count for nothing if we just go and take it up the backside again at Burnley.
Yeah, it just sounds like Steve Bruce is on repeat, because he said that a couple of times this season, hasn't he? I mean, maintaining the standards. What the standards from one game? It should be that game should be the standard that we set every game in the season, not just one game. And he is right in what we're saying. If we don't get anything from Burnley tomorrow, that Spurs game is nothing compared to what we face tomorrow.
Exactly. And I think, it's going to take what I said in my preview video, and what I've said all week, is it's going to take a team who, go out there and show fight and are willing to bleed for the cause. You know what I mean? Get stuck in 50-50 tackles hard into them. Make sure that the Burnley players know that we are not going to back down. We are not going to be sort of trampled over, because that's what Burnley will try and do. They'll try and take the high ground for the game by using the rough stuff. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They just want to intimidate Newcastle, and we can't afford to be intimidated. That's why we need certain players in that team tomorrow who aren't going to be intimidated. And Shelvey, for me, in the middle of the park, he backs out of so many 50-50s. He's not the man that we need in the middle of the park tomorrow. I mean, I would have Sean Longstaff. I want Sean Longstaff in again. I think Willock can cause havoc. It's just we need players who've got a bit of pace, got a bit of legs. Shelvey's gone for me. But Andrew puts there, I mean, he's trying to look at the other way, really. We should save the Hollywood players for West Ham. This Burnley game is going to be a hard tackling one and can't risk injury. We can't think like that now. We're in a relegation battle. This 3 points if we can get 3 points tomorrow, Kev, that is going to put us 6 points clear of Fulham. And in a fantastic... Yeah, exactly. With a game in hand, I know that's against Liverpool, but that's beyond the point. It still looks like a game in hand. Yeah. But the confidence blow that will give to Fulham after losing last night, seeing us pick 3 points up. I've seen a lot of people say, a draw will be good. It's not for me. I want to see us win the game. The games we've got coming up, we need these 3 points.
Yeah, we do. We've got 7. I think it's 8 games remaining, and 3 of them we've got Burnley, we've got Sheffield United, and we've got Fulham. So there's 9 points we should be picking up without a shadow of a doubt. We have got the better team than what the other 3 teams have got. And Fulham last night, obviously, they've lost 4 in a row now, so their confidence is absolutely shot to bits. And if they see Newcastle beating Burnley tomorrow, that'll be a big nail in their coffin. And then if Burnley go and pick up 3 points somewhere else, and then the gap's just going to be too big, because if you look at Fulham's fixtures, they're going to struggle to get some points as well. They've got Burnley in a couple of games' time as well.
The thing is, West Brom are picking up points now as well. You always see this every season where a team just makes a late break. Sunderland did it a couple of times years ago. I remember under Dick Advocat, they went to Arsenal and just put on a battling performance and got a draw to keep them up, and Advocat was in tears. It just how the emotions of being in the relegation scrap. And you can never tell what they're going to do. And, we just want to make sure we get the points on the board rather than say, oh, well, it's a point towards safety, It could go terribly because Fulham could then suddenly turn around and everybody thinks, oh, bang, they're out of it. The confidence is gone. They're done. Maybe they are, but they could just suddenly just get re-inspired and start winning some games that they weren't expected to and throws us back in the shit again. Because for me, 6 points clear is a lot better than 4 points clear, given how the games that are coming up.
You are right. And I think if we play with the right team tomorrow, and then we make the right subs at the right time, we've got a really, really good chance of winning this game because Burnley confidence will be low at the minute, obviously blowing a 2-goal lead against Southampton. So they're going to come into the game rough and tumble. They're going to try ruffle up the first 10 minutes and then see how Newcastle play. But then it just depends on how the game's going to go. I mean, who's going to go on the front foot and who's going to sit back and defend? I mean, will it be like a basketball game end to end? I very much doubt it because Newcastle never play them sort of games. So I just hope that we play this exactly the same way with the same similar sort of team without Kraft and Hendrick anywhere near it against Burnley tomorrow. And I pray that we get 3 points personally.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Another one from the press conference. This one got me. I got home last week and my good lady had cooked me Sunday lunch. By the time we were just getting sat down, Mitrovic had just scored for Fulham. By the time I had my apple pie and custard, they got beat 3-1. What a fucking ludicrous thing to say. I mean, I don't want to know that he's having his Sunday lunch. I don't want to know that he's had apple pie and custard. Quite frankly, he probably eats apple pie and custard for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, what a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, I wonder if he had bacon on his Sunday lunch as well, but I
wouldn't
totally
surprise us. Pigs in blankets, no doubt.
I can totally relate, though. Apple pie and custard is a great choice. I can give him that personally. But I mean,
crumble more than pie for me. But
I mean, it's like me coming on here with you, and then you asking about tomorrow, and I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to tell them about my dinner, what I've just had. Really, I'm just going to say I've just had a fish finger sandwich, tomato sauce, and this, that, and the other. I haven't, by the way. I'm just bringing things up, really. But it's just an interesting to see it.
It just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I mean, I think the guy's purely losing it. I mean, and another guy I think who's losing it is Andrew, because he's now saying, I honestly do Hendrick due a game. I mean, what have you been smoking this morning, man, Andrew? Come on. I mean, Hendrick is one of the worst, and I know that I saw you two discussing it this morning on your show, Kev. Even the Burnley fans think he's terrible, and the guy just, we are in a relegation battle here. People need to remember that, and we need our best players at all times available to us. Hendrick is not one of them best players, Andrew. I'm sorry to disagree with you, my man, but dear God, Hendrick, we can't risk putting him in the team because it's just like having 10 men. Yeah,
and obviously Joe mentioned this morning, obviously we got him on a free and we're still robbed. So that's exactly that's what Burnley fans think. But I'm thinking this Andrew Walters is a Mackham in disguise, personally, if he wants us to play Jeff Hendrick because we're going to get beat personally, if that's what happens. He's had one good game for us, and that was the first game of the season. We've never seen nothing since. And it says something that Sean Longstaff is getting a game before him, because I think the Newcastle fans rate Sean Longstaff much more than Jeff Hendrick. We know that he can put a shift in midfield, and I'm really glad that he didn't come on against Spurs because we could have lost that game. I think Joe Willock was the better substitution.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, it proved that because he scored. But I mean, I was very, very surprised he didn't bring Hendrick on, to be honest. But I just have no faith in Hendrick. He does absolutely nothing. He gives the ball away. His positional sense is absolutely ridiculous, and he brings nothing to the team. He literally nothing. There's nothing that man does that benefits Newcastle United. He scored a couple of goals this season, fair enough, but his all-round play has been dreadful. And considering, there was rumours of AC Milan, etc., wanting him at the start of the season, that is absolute bullshit, to be honest, because there is no way AC Milan were looking at him. It was used as a kind of bait to try and get him signed up with someone, you know what I mean? It was never going to AC Milan. Antonio injured, Rice out, and Lingard struggling. I think Lingard's going to make it, from what I gather. So, I mean, a lot of managers before games, you have to remember, come out and say things about people struggling, and then suddenly when the team sheets are there, they're in the team. It's just to throw a spanner in the works, try and create a bit of confusion about what tactics you should play, etc. But we'll see. Toonzer says, we lose every week. You're nothing special. We lose every week. Dear God. Terence says, Wolves fan here. Don't worry, Fulham out of form. Newcastle are safe. See you next season. I hope you're right, Terence. I really do. I've got a dreadful thought that this is going down to the last game of the season, and I really I don't want it to, but I couldn't hack that shit. But never mind. Again, so this is from Steve Bruce, and he's talking about social media this time. If you're going to go out there and post something, you should be accountable for what you're writing, and certainly the abuse I've taken on social media, for me, it's a scourge. For me, we should ban it all, but that's me thinking. I don't see any benefit. Well, Steve, I'm sorry to disagree with you, mate, but yes, some aspects of social media are shocking. The racism, the homophobia, everything like that, and I perfectly agree with you on that. However, social media can be a good thing as well. It helps a lot of people who are suffering from mental health. They get a lot of support. I had troubles during the week. I got an absolute barrage of support, including yourself, Kev. There are so many good people on there compared to bad. And it's just a case of rooting out the bad people and just enjoying what you're on there for, is to talk about football or whatever you join Twitter for. It's funny, really, because this man doesn't have a social media account, apparently, yet he seems to know everything that's labelled against him. 1 minute he's getting fan mail, the next minute he's getting abuse and death threats. I mean, I've still yet to see a death threat, to be honest. I think that was a load of shite, Kev.
Yeah, and another thing I caught that he said was his son has deleted his Twitter account, and that's a load of rubbish as well, because he hasn't. So I don't really know why he's saying that, but I think just going off what you said there before about you taking an absolute barrage of supporting this and the other, I thought what you done the other night with Holly Blades, I thought that was absolutely monumental of you. There's a massive credit for that.
Cheers, thank you.
It was very, very manly. I mean, it just shows the size of balls that you've got to do that as well. But you are right. I mean, Twitter can be absolutely toxic sometimes, judging by what everyone's been through the last few weeks. But now I think if you go on Twitter, you go on because you want to interact with fans, you want to talk about football. You don't go on. I'm not the sort of person to just judge people by like color of the skin or the sexuality, or anything like that. I mean, because I don't see the point in it. I mean, if anything, it makes me look bad. So, I mean, just be nice to everyone. That's all we ask. I mean, fair enough, you give like managers stick and this, that, and the other, but like death threats and things there, I mean, obviously we've never seen any, but if they have happened, that's just going far too far for me.
Yeah, it is. And I think, that's why I did the show with Holly, basically so people can go back and watch it and just, I mean, I'd like to think, I mean, I spoke to Holly afterwards and, she'd had a great response, loads of messages and things like that. So did I. And hopefully a lot of the Newcastle fan base saw that video or saw the response to it and maybe thought, all this, backstabbing and yapping on at each other is just it's pathetic. I realised that, and that's why, I just want to get on with all the Newcastle podcasters, all the football podcasters. I want to get on with, because at the end of the day, we can help each other, and things like that, and go on each other's shows and just talk about Newcastle and talk about football, which is what we're all here to do. And that's how it should be. Chippers, you're a Doyle, though. Thought you were going live at 2. I did tweet out at least 3 times so that it was changed to 1:30. I did actually.
The memo.
Yeah, I replied to his tweet, though, saying that it's 1:30. So I don't know where you've been, Chippers, but, having your afternoon nap or whatever it is. But it was 2, changed it to 1:30, just so we can enjoy the rest of the day after the show. You know what I mean? Yeah. Geordie says, we played well against Spurs last week, but we have to back it up with a win against Burnley, especially since we have the chance to have 6 points gap. It's exactly what we've just been talking about. Now, the final comment from Steve Bruce, this really pissed me off, right? This just says everything about the man, and is he really a Newcastle United fan? Is he this or is he that? This comment, this is about the pledge, right? And I was foreman. Bruce on the 1892 pledge. I've seen it out there. I haven't really read a lot about it and what it entails and the details of it. Of course, supporters are entitled to spend their money which way they see fit and make their own opinions on it. I've got to focus solely on Burnley. I mean, that's pathetic, Kev. You know, I mean, this is, you know, can you imagine what, I mean, I don't like going back to Rafa. I really don't, because, you know, he's been and gone, but that wouldn't have been Rafa's reaction. Rafa would have been extremely positive about it and say, yeah, it's good that the Newcastle fans are all getting together and doing something positive, you know, with all the crap that's going around the club, you know, the negativity and everything. Finally, something comes out where it's something positive. Yeah, not everybody's going to agree with it. That's fine. You know, you don't have to pledge. Nobody's forcing you to do it. But the reaction to it has been absolutely fantastic. But when you get the manager coming out with, I mean, such bullshit like that, you know, and then saying I've got to solely focus on the Burnley game. He'll have seen the pledge. You know about it. Everybody has seen it. It's been on national news, well, local news and stuff. So he will have seen it. And to come out with that just proves he's just got no interest in this club at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to touch on what you said about Rafa as well. I mean, he probably would have spent 20 minutes sitting there actually talking about the positives of it and things like that. I mean, for Steve Bruce just to brush it under the carpet like that clearly means that he's not a fan. He hasn't read into it at all. He's probably heard the word pledge somewhere and then saw like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I agree with this and I think it's a good idea and blah, blah, blah. But he clearly hasn't read into it. He hasn't watched any of the Q&As from the trust or anything like that. So for me, he's not a fan. He's definitely not a fan. He's a Man United fan, if anything.
Of course he is. I mean, he's moved back to Manchester, hasn't he? So he just doesn't care. He really doesn't. I mean, you're right what you say about Rafa, and I think Rafa would have got involved. I really do think that. I think Rafa would have got involved. Maybe not pledging, but what he would have done is maybe, you know, gone on a couple of been interviewed and asked about it properly and talk about it and talk about the benefits of it, because, you know, if it all doesn't go to plan, then it all goes to charity. So it's a win-win, you know, and for most supporters, you know, they're only pledging, you know, up to about £5 a month. You know, it's not a lot when you consider the thousands that are pledging. I mean, I think they're going to hit 50,000 shortly if they already haven't, which is incredible. 50,000 quid already in a couple of days. It's remarkable, and it just shows you that what this fan base can do when it just gets together properly. And when you've got Doyle's like our manager just basically poo-pooing it, that's what he's doing. He's just not bothered because he knows he's not going to be here that long, and he's got no interest in it at all. Geordie says Fat Sam has a decent record of keeping sides up. Look what he did at Sunderland in the 15-16 season, which saw us relegated. Yeah, I mean, personally, I can't see West Brom getting out of it. I cannot.
Yeah. I can't. I think all good things have got to come to an end. And I think that's where, personally, I think he'll leave before the end of the season. I don't know why, but I think just something saying that he'll want to keep his record intact. And
a lot of people have said that if it gets impossible, he'll walk before it goes on his CV.
But I was just touching on what one of your comments there. You can't beat a fish finger sandwich. I mean, that is true. It depends what sauce you have with it, though. But anyway, back to
which sauce would you have with it? That's the question.
I'd have brown personally.
Oh, no, Kev, man, that's just the wrong answer. Nah, I'm not having it. Brown sauce is the devil's sauce. It is. It's just the devil's sauce. It is just disgraceful. I'm sorry, but
it's been good, but I enjoy the rest of your No, but just what you're saying. Sam Allardyce, he has got a good record with keeping teams up, but I think West Brom is just a team too far. I think they haven't got the players, they haven't got the quality to do that. Fair enough that they had a lucky win against Chelsea when they went down with 10 men, so that doesn't like sort of sort out the rest of the season, because they have got some tough games as well. So I think personally, his record will come to an end with West Brom if he doesn't leave before the end of the season.
Yep. Well, we've got Steve Bruce himself making a comment here. Well, the wife made me a bacon butty for my lunch and has now stuck the kettle on. Well, nice one, Steve. I hope you're enjoying that.
Tea time?
I know. Andrew says, I'm just saying this isn't the big game for me when we can get 4. For me, we can get 4 points, and I really do think it'll happen. So he thinks we'll get 4 points against West Ham and Arsenal. I don't want to put a gamble on that. I really don't. Chippers then says, Andrew, tomorrow is a big game. They all are. Sam, good afternoon to you. Hope you enjoyed your birthday.
Hello,
the
Sam.
Man without social media doesn't see the point in it. Yeah, how ironic is that, eh? He doesn't have social media, so what's he commenting on it for? Andrew is going back to Chippers here. I'm just saying we need to be intelligent. Would you take a win against Burnley and have injuries for Fulham or vice versa? Andrew, you can get injured any time on a football pitch. You can get injured in the warm-up. You know, it's not about risking injuries now. It's about risking Newcastle United's position in the Premier League. We can't risk it. We need to have our best players out there. Surely, Kev?
Yeah, and the best players can win the game. That's the whole top and bottom of it. And I think it's all well and good having injuries. I mean, every team has that. You just said it yourself. So it just depends on how the fringe players play when the injured players, the best players, for example, are injured. So if you were to say like Wilson would come on tomorrow and get injured straight away again, we know that we've got Joe Linton and Dwight Gale straight away. So hopefully they can step up to the plate again. Joe Linton played absolutely out his skin last week. So hopefully he can put in another performance exactly like that. But I don't want to. I'm going to touch wood and just say, look, I don't want any more injuries until the end of the season.
Yeah, don't talk about touching wood. You'll get Chippers excited.
I had a feeling it might end up like this.
Only on a Monday, mate. Only on a Monday. Andrews, we haven't got a big enough and decent enough squad for every game. We need to pick our games and battles. I'm sorry, I totally disagree. You know, did you see Arsene Wenger changing the Arsenal side when he went to places like Stoke? No. And yes, he was very unhappy with Stoke's approach to the game most of the time they played Arsenal, but you never saw him leave anybody out because it was, they might get injured. It's a rough game. It doesn't work like that in our position. And the way that other teams are playing, like the West Hams, Arsenal could turn up and thrash us if they wanted to. You just can't take the risk. We need to get 3 points when we've got an opportunity. Chipper says, sorry, Andrew, but you are beginning to sound like Bruce 2.0. Honestly, I can't stand Bruce, but I'm trying to suggest we need to think out with our brains before our hearts. If it was brains, Andrew, then I'm sorry, but brains would put your best side on the pitch. Bede says it's firmly in our hands now. 2 games in hand and 3 points clear. Looking like we should stay up. That's the big thing. And if we go 6 points clear, it is a monumental blow to Fulham. Without a doubt. And that's what we need to aim for. Burnley will target them, says Andrew. Well, let them. It's up to our players to handle that. They're big enough and tough enough to handle that. That's why they're professional footballers. Yeah,
that's exactly what I said earlier on. The first 10 minutes is going to be an absolute scrap. So there's going to be a few tackles flying around, and basically to let the Newcastle players know that they've walked onto turf more, and it's going to be an absolute battle for them to get 3 points. And that's what Burnley's all about. They always have been. They always put up like a good attack, well, not attacking team, but like a good, strong tackling team. That's what they do. They're a scrappy team who's always grind out victories here and there. So
definitely. Ken says start with the same 11 against Spurs. Nah, I don't want Kraft anywhere near the starting lineup. If there is one man that'll get roughed up and knocked off the ball, it's Emil Kraft. Put it that way. Andrew says, would you take Van Bronckhorst as manager? Not for me. No. I think there's other. Wilder for me is the perfect man to come in and do a job if we go down. If we stay up, for me. It's all about a takeover, though. You can't say who's going to come in because not many people are going to come in and want Mike Ashley to work under Mike Ashley. Chipper says, yes, Kev, brown sauce, high five. Chipper, I knew you'd go for the brown sauce. Never mind. Ken says, no, it'd be good to have an English man in charge. Wilder, maybe. Yep.
Tony Pulis?
Nah, you're kidding, aren't you? Would you have Pulis? Surely not.
I know.
Jesus Christ!
I know Steve Bruce's biggest fan there, Stephen. He likes Tony Pulis, doesn't he?
Well, apparently so, yeah. But I'm not getting into that. He says, "I agree with you there, Paul, on the sauce tomato all the way. Good lad." Steve Bruce says sauce doesn't belong on a bacon butty. Brian says the best thing is if we go down like Sunderland, the trust can buy the club. That's what it's all about. I mean, I was lucky enough because I actually got a phone call from Charlotte from the Trust last Saturday morning, telling us about exactly what they were doing and things like that. And obviously I had to keep hush-hush on it until it was announced. But I was privileged that Charlotte took the time to ring me and tell me about it, because obviously they want to promote it on as many channels as possible. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to get them all on and have a chat about it. So my subscribers can all ask questions, anything they're unsure about and things like that about the actual pledge. So keep an eye on that, because there will be guys from the trust coming on. Hopefully, I'm trying to get a hold of Warren Barton to come on as well to explain and to hopefully just push it through from a former player's perspective about how good it is. He's managed to get the Shearer on board, Rob Lee, Steve Howie. They're all they're all putting in. So it's seeing the former players doing that will give you some sort of rest assurance, if you like, that it is a good thing. But like I say, keep an eye on the channel, because I will, with Charlotte's help, I'll be getting a lot of people on and talking about that in the near future. Andrew says, what about Pirlo?
No,
I don't think he's managed anybody, has he?
Has he managed Juve? Yeah,
is he manager of Juve? Well, he's not going to come to Newcastle, is he? Come on. Yeah, let's be serious here. Trenson says, Mrs. Bruce misheard Steve last Sunday dinner. She asked him what he wanted for pudding. She thought he said, do me some bacon. Yeah, very funny. Very good. Very good. Kevin says, I think a big win is on the cards if he sticks with the same team, and even better if Wilson were to come on.
Not the same team.
It's not going to be the same team, because Lascelles isn't playing. I just hope that he goes with a back three of Fernandez, Clark, and Dummett. But if he stays with the same formation, they're the three centre backs I want to see. I want to see right wing back Murphy, left wing back Ritchie. I may as well go through my team now. In the middle, I want to see Willock and Sean Longstaff with Almiron just ahead of him. And obviously up front, Joe Linton and Wilson. That's my ideal team, and I didn't think I would ever put Joe Linton in the team, but I just think he'll be really motivated from last week. And you know what? I'd love to see the guy do well. I'd love to see him bang in a couple more goals between now and the end of the season. I've been his biggest critic since he's been at the club. I've absolutely hammered the guy. But you know what? I gave him man of the match last week in me player ratings video. I was delighted to see him score. Do I think he's going to succeed? I don't think he is. I don't think he's good enough, to be honest. But I'd love to see him bang in a few more goals and just maybe put a smile on people's faces, Kev.
Yeah, and I do think that he's got the huge pressure of having that number 9 shirt on his back as well, and obviously the price tag that he's bought for. It doesn't really help him. That's pressure in itself. But I do think you're right. He's not good enough. But at the same time, I think if he bangs in a few more goals, his confidence is going to get better and better. So, but I do agree with the team that you've just says about Willock and Longstaff in the middle with Almiron just in front of him. But again, we all know that Shelby's going to take the captain's armband. So I don't think you can start the captain on the bench, can you? So we've got to put him in somewhere, really, haven't we? So it looks like maybe
give Ritchie the fucking captaincy. You know what I mean? Give it to Ritchie. You know what I mean? Yeah. I put out there that I wanted to see he's the ideal man, and there's somebody tweeted me back saying, "Oh, why do you want Ritchie captain just because he jumps around a bit?" No, did you see the clip during the week of him when he put that ball across for our second goal? He was like heading Joe Linton's head, and he was heading when Almiron went in, and then when Willock scored, he was just over them. That is the passion that we need to see from Newcastle players in this running. For me, if they show that kind of passion, that kind of desire, that kind of attitude, and we lose to the better teams, but we've tried, I'll clap the lads off. I won't be in a blaze of rage like I normally am. It's when we just drop our heads and we down tools, we just think, right, sod it, we've lost the game. Like West Brom, they just put their heads down. They didn't score early. They just, when we were on top and the heads went down, we could have lost that game. And it's just what I saw against Spurs was a much, much more positive atmosphere on the pitch. When they went behind, they didn't drop their heads, they kept going, and that's what it's all about for me. And we need players on the pitch like Matt Ritchie, and Matt Ritchie will hammer them. He'll kick them up the arse if the heads drop. He won't let it happen.
Yeah, he'd be the first one to shout and scream all over the pitch. And I just think you're right in what you're saying about the Spurs game. It was a really good game to watch from a Newcastle perspective, because the Brighton game, I give up after 70 minutes. I started playing golf on my phone. That's how bored of that game I was.
Jesus.
And then But the Spurs game, I was rooted to my seat, rooting them on to try and get the equaliser, because for me personally, I thought we deserved to win.
Yeah, I did. I thought we were really unlucky. I think there was chances in that game that we should have scored. I think Joe Linton's in the second half when he was literally standing on the goal line and he put it wide. It was given offside, but had that been VAR'd, it would have been given had he put the ball in the net, because he was never offside in a million years.
That's right.
So Michael says, thoughts on Eddie Howe holding out for a new job until the summer? Would you take him if he was interested and we had new owners? If we have new owners, I think they'll be going for a bit higher than Eddie Howe. That's no
Rafa.
Disrespect to Eddie. Exactly. It'd be somebody of Rafa's caliber. Maybe not Rafa himself, but somebody of his caliber. The new owners will be looking for an immediate impact with a top-class manager. If there's no takeover, definitely Eddie Howe, without a shadow of a doubt. I think what he did at Bournemouth, people can say all they want, he got them relegated. Look what he did before that, where Bournemouth were in literally like back in the old fourth division, and they came from nowhere, and he got them into a regular Premier League side until last season, and obviously they went down. But I think he could do a tremendous job, and I don't think he's keen on going to Celtic, because I think if that was the case, he would have already been there, or he'd have already agreed to join them in the summer. But it's one of them that we'll see, I guess. It's funny with Eddie Howe, because it's gone all quiet again.
I just think with Eddie Howe, sorry, go on.
Go on, no, go on.
I'm just thinking with Eddie Howe, obviously, rumours that came out the last few days that he wants to hold out until the summer, because he's sort of enjoying the little time that he has at the minute. But there was more rumours going around last week that he was in Glasgow looking at houses and stuff. So you just don't know what to believe at the minute. But I do think that Eddie Howe is looking for a bigger job than Celtic, personally.
Yeah. I mean, some people have said, and I kind of agree in a way, that if he went to Celtic, it's an opportunity to experience European football, maybe get some cup winners medals on his CV and things like that, because obviously, it's not... I mean, don't get us wrong, I think the Scottish League's improved vastly over the last 12 to 18 months, because I watch it a lot, and I think it has improved. Yes, you're still going to get the big two simply because of the financial clout that they've got. But, the likes of Aberdeen, they're catching up a little bit. They've got some decent players. So, you could see it that way, that he goes there and gets the kind of stuff that he needs on his CV, then come back to a big club in England, or does he just take the plunge, go for a big club in England? Because I don't know about you, Kev, but I see like the likes of Frank Lampard or Eddie Howe looking at Newcastle as an opportunity to bring them back, bring them back to some sort of glory, really use it. Steven Gerrard to a degree as well, before he eventually goes to Liverpool. They'll see it as an opportunity. If we can get new owners who are willing to put money into the club and build the club, unlike Steve Bruce, who's just willing to finish 17th every season and have no ambition, these guys will say, right, can you imagine what it does for our CVs and our name if we can get a club like Newcastle back up the league, maybe win something with them? It's just huge.
Yeah, it will give them a massive reputation as well, because obviously it would be like a stepping stone to the next big thing for them, like Gerrard, for example, to Liverpool. I think Frank Lampard's being linked with the England under-21s at the minute, so he's probably a no-go for that. And Eddie Howe, I just think, he is probably just going to wait and see what develops. I think I wouldn't like to be in his shoes at the minute, because he's probably got a few offers given to him every couple of months. He's just got to wait and see which one the right one is for him personally. But I hope someone does come in and we win a trophy with him personally.
Yeah, I just want to see a new manager who's got a bit of ambition, wants to do well in the cups, and things like that. And if there was one thing I picked at Rafa for, it was the fact that he just didn't really treat the cups with any positivity. He didn't really treat them with any importance.
He didn't have a sort of good cup run or anything.
Yeah, put the kids out and things like that. Nearly finished the show. We'll just go through these comments as well. This one from Tunami says, ex-Roma, Paletta on buying the club, no chance. He's another one. He's very, very similar to Ashley. He's an asset stripper, and I don't want him anywhere near Newcastle United, Kev.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him personally, but judging by what you just said, no. Why would we need anyone like that? We need someone with ambition to take the club forward, not to just advertise the brand on it. It's not what we're about.
Exactly, and we certainly don't want somebody like another Mike Ashley coming in, because that would kill the club. I think if somebody else like him came in. Beat says, I would rather play Mrs. Doubtfire right back than Kraft. Definitely. Would you take Lee Bowyer as manager? No, he's not experienced enough yet. Ken says no. Put Wilson on in the second half, says Donald. Dale says, I'm Gan KFC Metro Centre. You enjoy yourself, son. Kevin says, agree with the armband to Richie. Paul says, give the armband to Richie or Dubravka. I mean, I've seen a few people say Dubravka, but I'd rather Richie, because he's simply on the pitch in the middle of it all. I don't really agree with goalkeepers being captain. I don't think they can get the voice across well enough. And that would be the problem with Dubravka.
You see it with Manuel Neuer at Bayern Munich as well. I mean, he struggles to get the word across as well. And he's obviously, sometimes he plays like a sweeper-keeper sort of role to try and get the word out to what he wants from the team. So I don't agree with keepers being captain either.
I mean, Lloris at Tottenham as well. I mean, it just doesn't work. Brian says, Andrew is a Sunderland fan who thinks the club will get promoted back to the Premier League first time with League One offside goals. Oh, dear me. Pete said, yep, definitely. Richie is vocal, and you need that on the pitch from a captain. Exactly. Ken wants Dubravka. Andrew says, Richie, best player. I would rather play him than ASM.
Oof.
He's definitely a Mackham. He's definitely a Mackham. I'm sorry, Andrew. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. You've got a red and white strip on behind that bloody camera, mate. Definitely. Toonami says Longstaff needs playing time. I agree. I believe there's still a player in Sean Longstaff. I just wish he'd gone out on loan, to be honest, in January. Maybe to a championship club, got first team football, got himself fit again, got himself back to the old. I know the injury is playing on his mind a lot. It will do when you're young and you get an injury like that. But, just get him a run of games, and I think we will see. I still think there's a player in there. Dale says Andrew Walters clearly dropped on the head as a bairn. Andrew then comes back and says, in fact, I won't even start ASM now. His attitude is awful. So Dale says, get lost. I think there's definitely a Mackham amongst the ranks in this comments this afternoon. Ken says, play Longstaff. Toonami, Eddie Howe linked to Crystal Palace now as well. So do you know what it is? I think that would suit him well if Hodgson leaves at the end of the season. It seems like the perfect job for him.
That's not a bad job for him, that actually. Obviously, Roy Hodgson's game, he's knocking on a bit now. So I think he's probably going to step aside in the summer. So Crystal Palace will be a good challenge for him, personally, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew, again, needs fighters now, not Hollywood ASM. Oh, dear me. Richie needs to start every game. Now, that I agree with. We need Richie in the team, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, exactly. Howe had to leave Burnley because he couldn't settle in the north. He'll stay down south somewhere. Yeah, there is a lot of people saying that he isn't keen on moving north, which is why we've just said there the Crystal Palace job would suit him down to the ground. Around about 5 minutes left of the show, guys. You want to get your comments in. Andrew said if we had new only say Saudis, then Perlo manager for me.
Why?
No. Exactly. I don't get that. Roberto Martinez is apparently leaving Belgium after the Euros. I'd like to see Martinez linked up with Graham Jones. A few people have said that. I don't think I'd be too upset if Martinez took the job.
Yeah, he's not a bad manager. I mean, look at what he did with Swansea. And now look what look at the players he's got for Belgium. They're all world class. He's got Lukaku, De Bruyne, Witsel, the list goes on. So I think with his experience in getting them teams to the number one ranked team in the world, Graham Jones will be a great addition next to him on the sidelines at Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big Euros for Martinez for his CV. See how far he can get Belgium in the Euros. I mean, they always seem to slip up somewhere, don't they? That's the problem. They're expected to win tournaments and they slip up. Toonami says too big of a club for Lampard to run. I don't know. He's been at Chelsea, and he's got lots of experience. Whether it be, I know not managerial, but he's been around a bit. Andrew says, "Why do I think Rafa will go to LFC when Klopp goes to Germany?" I know he said he won't, but I don't buy that. I don't think Rafa would go back to Liverpool. I think he's got unfinished business with us, to be honest. But
I just want to. Sorry, Paul, just to jump in there. Just what he just said there about Klopp going to Germany. I mean, rumours are going around that Hansi Flick, the Bayern Munich manager, is going to get the Germany job at the end of the season. So why would Klopp go to Germany? I mean, if he's going to leave Liverpool, I think Klopp would take a year or two out, personally.
Yeah. He's already said he's not taking the Germany job as well. He's ruled himself out. But I think it's between him and Nagelsmann for the Germany job myself. I think that'll all be decided after the Euros anyway, but we'll see, because I really don't think Germany are going to do anything in the Euros this year. I mean, I can't believe that. What was it? North Macedonia beat them. I think everything's not clicking in Germany at the minute. Andrew, go on.
It's their first defeat in a World Cup qualifier since 2002 as well.
Jesus, that's amazing, isn't it?
Sorry, Euro Championships, not a World Cup.
Yeah, you'd expect them to lose to someone like Italy or Brazil or someone like that, but bloody North Macedonia, Christ. Andrew says, who, if we stay up, is the one transfer we need, you reckon? If we stay
new
up,
manager?
A new manager, somebody with a bit of belief, somebody with a bit of positivity that doesn't have a go at the fans every bloody week. Something like that. Who and what's the new logo sponsors for next season? I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet. Have you, Kev? I haven't heard anything.
No, I'd be happy with that personally.
Definitely. Yeah. I want the blue star back. I'd just be happy with the blue star.
I'm not very fond of this rubbish.
No, I've got the same one on. I bloody hate it. Some bloody Chinese betting firm on it, man. It's bloody ridiculous. I think I've got last season's on, actually. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you have.
I've got last season's on, but I want the blue star back. I loved it. Chipper says, Andrew, are you on the sauce? You what, mate?
Or Greenalls, have that one.
Greenalls, bloody hell. There's a blast in the past. Chipper says, Andrew, are you on the sauce? Dale says, Andrew was dropped on the head. Andrew says, Chipper's not yet. Lol, seriously loving this, though. Keeping a tune says, Max Allegri would be my choice should a takeover happen. He knows how to win things with a black and white team. Interesting. Allegri's been mentioned a few times, actually, but it all boils down to the takeover. It's so weird because you're looking at sort of, I don't know, you're kind of shopping in Pound Stretcher and Wilkinson's. If a takeover doesn't go through, takeover goes through, you then start looking in Harrods. It's a complete end of scale thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, Max Allegri's been linked with a few teams in the past. I mean, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. He's always going to be linked with teams. He's just waiting for the right job for him, personally, I think.
I don't think he's interested in coming to England, you know. I just, the amount of big teams in England that have been linked to him, I just don't think he's interested in coming. But again, that's his choice. Last few now before the end. Beat says, for me, one of the most underrated managers is Brendan Rodgers. I agree. I think I'd love to see Brendan Rodgers as Newcastle manager. I think he could turn us around. Andrew says, guess you ain't seen Serie A. Pirlo is class. Will you, if you want to go and get Pirlo, get him on Football Manager or something. You know what I mean? He's not coming to Newcastle.
Serie A's corrupt.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you said that, not me. I ain't taking no court cases from you, mate. Andrew says, gigs. Andrew, will you just go home, mate? Seriously, what are you on? Chipper says, gigs. Andrew, go home. Mark says, you are it, Andrew. He then comes back and says, you don't say no to buying. Well, you can. Why not? Dale says, Andrew, poor Ben, has knee home living in Sunderland like visiting a third world country. Leeds have beaten Man City 2-1.
Oh,
good on them. I think
10 as well.
I think Man City are going to win the league anyway. But well done, Leeds. See, there's a team I just really admire. And I've got a lot of Leeds fans follow me on this channel, and I've got a lot of Leeds United supporters friends. So I do have I do keep out, a look out for their results. And I just think the way they've come into the Premier League this season, and Bielsa's got them saying, like Keegan did in the 90s, you score 4 against us, we're going to try and score 5. So it doesn't matter if they lose 6-1, they play the same way. And he's took a bit of hammer for that in the media, but you know what it is? Good on them. They've come in and been a breath of fresh air this season, Leeds United, without a shadow of a doubt. And I would just love to see us play like that. Back in the day we did. Dale, spelling okay? I cannot understand you. Well, you're obviously Scottish, Andrew, because that's a Scottish canna. So there you go. A Scottish Mackem. There you go. I've said it.
Well, that's a Charlo word, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, without a shout. He also thinks we're going to lose 1-0 to Burnley. Markham, without a doubt. 2-0 to Shearer and Bellamy to score. God almighty, what year are you living in, pal? Martin says, yeah, Castoria, the clothing company, they do the Rangers kit. I've heard Castoria might be sponsoring next season, but I guess we'll have to see. And Ed says Shelby has same attributes as Beckham did. Wouldn't mind seeing him play deep on right-hand side of midfield where he has space to whip, I presume he says, whip balls around and not overturn, not overrun in the centre of the park.
When does he ever overrun?
He doesn't. But again, that's just it's not about. I can see what he means by putting them on the right. Just without having to beat a man, he could cross a ball. And that's something he could do. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to push the ball past him and sprint after him and whip the ball in. He could have that Beckham-esque skill, if you like, where he just looks up and puts the ball in.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at him sometimes, it's like he's scared to leave the centre circle apart from going to take free kicks and stuff, isn't it? He just doesn't leave there. He whips balls in every now and again, but not from the right-hand side or the left-hand side. It's more from oh, shit, sorry.
Mine's been
more from around, it's more from like around the centre circle area. It's just, he just needs, his legs have gone. He needs to give it up.
Definitely, yeah. Tsunami says, been living in London 15 years now and was looking forward to going to see us play Fulham, but no away fans allowed. I know, and you know what it is? If that's the last game of the season and it is a relegation match, to have 10,000 fans in that stadium while Fulham is going to be crippling for Newcastle. Absolutely crippling. Because we know we're shite away from home as it is, but when the visiting fans are in there, it's even worse. That could be a nightmare. Newcastle have been... Okay. Phone Neil and more booking versus Liverpool. No idea what that means. Smash the like button, lads, and Martin, thank you very much. If you have enjoyed the show, guys, do smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, you've enjoyed what you've watched, do hit the subscribe button as well if you're interested. And also do give Kev's channel a follow as well. It's Big Toon Chat, is it, Kev? Is that the one?
At Big Toon Chat, yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description after the show because I forgot to do it. Oh no, I might have put it in actually. I don't know. I'll have to check. I've got no idea. After all the struggles I had last night trying to get home, I don't know if I've put it. I can't remember. Leeds have beaten Man City apparently with 2-1. Get in, well done them. Castoria design nice kits. They do the folded collar look smart. Well, as long as they do oversized 3XL, for 6'5" guys like me, it's very, very difficult to get a hold of shirts. As everybody knows, I'm an avid collector of football shirts. I've got about I think I've got about 10 in the wardrobe. But, I've got Oxford, Luton, Bayer Leverkusen, Carlisle United, all sorts of strips. I just love collecting them, to be honest. I prefer the comfort of wearing a footy top than hoodies and shit like that and looking like some kind of 1980s chav.
Well, I've got 5 Newcastle shirts and 4 Bayern Munich shirts, so that's I'm an avid collector of them. Yeah,
I mean, I know you follow Bayern Munich. I'm more Dortmund. Well, I was Dortmund. I'm more Leipzig, but I kind of get out to do with Leipzig. The caps cost about £50 on Amazon, and I'm like, I'm not having that. 50 bloody quid for a bloody hat, man. How you know what it is? Yeah. Tsunami's put there. It is Big Toon Chat.
Yeah, I do sing it as well. Apparently.
Yeah. So do I. I mean, there's a lot more people found my Facebook singing page over the recent months, thanks to my interview on Newcastle Fans TV. Lee, if you're watching, you're a twat. So, I mean that in the nicest possible way. He knows that. Got 15 tune tops from 1984. Bloody hell. Nice. Jesus. I like the old away one, the grey one with the blue star and the old badge on. I used to love it. What's Andrew put here? Thanks, Paul, for having me on this. Really picked me up. Been down with leg and plaster. Keep up the good work. I have to go. Would love to be on this one day. Come on, Newcastle. Okay, Andrew, I'll forgive you. All right. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show, buddy.
You're a Mac in disguise.
Yeah, and before I get any haters coming at me saying, "No, I've just had to go at Lee from NFTV," I'm a good friend with Lee, and he knows fine well I'm joking on. So let's not jump on the bus straight away. Brian says Leeds just beat City. Yes, they did. Fulham Beach, has it been Burnley 61 and my fan 61 Newcastle? What? Right, can you decipher that message for me?
Fulham Beach, has it been Burnley 61 in my fan, 61 in Newcastle, 61 IT support? Okay. No, pass.
Andrew, you say, how are the lads, but predict Burnley to win. Take care, says Dale. Take care, Andy. Have some banter again soon. Chippers, it's my heart speaking. Mean it when I say how are the lads. We're all friends. David says Fulham have lost their momentum. A draw would be a good result tomorrow. Not for me. I think
victory is a good result.
Exactly. Why not go for the 3 points, man? Come on. NUFC underneath was Magpie and Castle. Yes, brilliant. We'll stay up. Come on, guys. I like that. That's better spirit, Andrew. That's better spirit. Senshi, is that some kind of emoji?
Yeah, some sort, yeah. Raising eyebrows, maybe.
Right, that's the end of the press conference, and look forward to tomorrow. Kev, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute blast, as I knew it would be. And I'll be getting you back on the channel very soon, mate. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problem at all.
Take care, mate. See you soon.
See you later. Bye.
Ta-da. So that was Kev from at Big Toon Chat. I'll put his description below after the show. Thank you very much for everybody that's joined in today. It's been quite funny in the comments as well, as I thought it might be. Andrew, you've been a star in the comments, even though you know, I don't know whether you're a Macam on one leg or what. I don't know. But it's been great. Hopefully we will get 3 points tomorrow. I'll be back live tomorrow at 2 p.m. with my match reaction live, which hopefully we'll be celebrating 3 points for once, which I know hasn't come around very much. But it'd be very, very nice to do a live reaction show where I'm not actually, you know, suffering from high blood pressure or any crap like that. And we've got 3 points in the bag. And then on Monday night, it will be the Four Horsemen of the Toon Show. Again, it's the show where anything goes. It's absolute madness. We talk about the football for a while, and then it just goes to pot, and anything goes on that show. It's the only show, Newcastle United channel, which has a show like that. I can guarantee you now. So get yourself involved. That's 8 p.m. on this channel on Monday night. And until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. And hopefully we'll all enjoy the match tomorrow. God knows what it's going to bring us, but hopefully it will bring us 3 points. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Be strong.